What day is it?
Dean, it's
Today's
Thursday.
Thursday.
Tool day.
It's
Tools
terrific Tool
Thursday,
Thursday.
the
It's tool
funnest
time.
day of our 4-day per week series. And I get to start. John has some tools that he's going to show off around funnels and other cool stuff. And Dr. V has one or two that he would like to
Yeah.
throw into the mix. And today we're going to start with one that I use that I made. And this one is all around, blah, blah, blah. This one is all around capturing your thoughts and ideas. Now, I spent many, many years trying to come up with the absolute most frictionless, least frictiony, if that's such a thing,
Least friction. I like that.
way to instantly capture like a thought. And the hardest part about thoughts are so, and ideas, they're so like ephemeral. And just a little bit of friction where you pull out your phone because you want to record it really quickly, you want to capture it. Just that little bit where you pull out your phone and then you have to make that little split decision. What app am I going to type this into? And that alone, just that fraction of a second or two, can mean that you forget the idea by the time you've made the decision because you've moved something out of the very top front of your short-term memory to do something else, and then you're hoping it can go back. And it's always been super frustrating to me when I lose stuff like that. So over the years, I've been poking around and trying different applications and standardizing on one app or another. And finally, a few years ago, Apple included this application in the operating system. Let me show you there. This is Shortcuts. And besides a whole bunch of them in a gallery that they provide, and you can run them on your phone and everything else, there's also you can also make your own. You can import other people's and adapt them or use them as is, or you can make your own. And it's really simple. I mean, this is not like developing applications or you don't have to know any code. All that happens is this is Catch It, which is what I called one of the two that I made. All it is you just give it the steps and it handles everything for you. So it is really the easiest way to like make an application for your phone, and it works exactly the way you want it to work. And of course, if you didn't want to do that, all you'd have to do is import it, because in a moment, I'm going to provide the link to actually give everyone how to do this. In fact, I think I can do it here. Can I do it here?
Can you?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat right there. So it's done.
Cool.
So here's how Catch It works. When I run it, it will ask for, it'll pop up a little box where I can start typing in whatever thought or idea that I had, and I want to make sure I get captured somewhere. It's going to take that and just tack on a date timestamp. So like the date and the time that I did it on one line, and then the sort of makes a little temporary note for itself. And then on the next line, it puts in whatever text I just wrote. Then it opens up Drafts. And we've talked about Drafts before. Drafts is an application that runs, I think, on everything in the in the Apple operating system or ecosystem, including the watch. And it lets you, it's the fastest way to sort of get something typed. And then from there, Drafts sort of geniuses will figure we'll make it super easy for someone to just, as soon as they open Drafts, there's a blank document, the cursor's blink, and just type. And then there's a whole bunch of things on the right-hand side, and you can import thousands more that will actually take whatever you just put in Drafts and send it to any other application that you want. It'll email it, it'll text it, it'll put it into Word, it'll put it into your calendar. It'll do all kinds of stuff for it. People make those, and I've made one as well to use along with this. So it's going to open Drafts. It's going to like paste that stuff into a new draft real quick. It's going to grab the unique identifier that every file, document, picture, absolutely everything on every operating system, laptop, phone, whatever, has a unique number so that the operating system knows what it is. This is why you can have two things with the same name, because to you, it looks like they have the same name. They're even the same thing. But to the operating system, they have this long alphanumeric name, and they're completely different. So it knows that they're not the same thing. And then it's going to run a little action inside, and this is also included on the link that I provided, inside Drafts, that takes it and populates a long-standing log file, which I will show. So basically, it just opens this log file because it knows the unique ID for it, and it will just scroll to the bottom and paste it in. And all of this happens like super fast. So I'm going to run it for you. And then it just goes back to the home screen. So I'm going to run it, and I won't run it from here. I'll just run it like I would normally run it, where I just tap. And I just type something like, an idea. And hit done. And that's it. That's all I have to do. It does everything else. You see it open drafts there and closed drafts. So if I go into, let's start drafts here. If I go into this document, which is always kept here, it's called Journal 2021 because that's when I sort of got to this version. And there it is, a date timestamp and what I just typed. So that's it. I put it on my phone. I tap the one thing. I type what I want to type while it's still there, and I'm done. Everything else is done in the background for me. And this has been by far the most productive thing. I go in and you can see like there's a lot of stuff in here. This is only for the last 7 or 8 weeks. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of lines worth of stuff. And I have it on my calendar twice a week, a half-hour section where I go in every 3 or 4 days. I go in and I look at the last several days. And every single time I do that, I find stuff that I forgot that I had thought of. But at least I managed to record it. So when I go back, I say, oh yeah, that problem still exists. And here's the solution to it. And I just haven't gotten around to trying to fix it. And there it is. I might as well do it. The only variation I have for this one is Podium. Podium is exactly the same in every single way. To catch it, the only difference is instead of popping up a dialog box, it pops up a little thing where you talk to it and it instantly transcribes it for you. Again, all built into your phone. You don't have to add anything for that. And then turns it into text and then follows all of the same steps again. So I only use Podium when I'm driving because I don't want to be typing with 2 hands while I'm, driving. So Podium works exactly the same way. Podium works exactly the same way.
There's an echo. I keep hearing Podium works the same way.
So if I go to drafts again, there it is. Podium works exactly the same way. That's how fast it takes. That's a little time it takes for me to actually get something into this long log of ideas and thoughts so that they're captured instantly and then they're preserved forever. And it is 100% reliable. I have never, ever had drafts fail to capture it and then perform the action and record it. And of course, if you don't trust the system, you're not going to use the system. So those are my 2 little things. And then the not Podium, but the other one is actually available on that link. You can just go and grab it. Drafts is free as long as you don't want it to sync across devices. Now, the nice thing about the Shortcuts app, when Apple, every time they come out with a new big version of the operating system, they have usually a major update to Shortcuts. And what they did in the last update is they ported it to Mac. So now I can run the exact same capture or catch it or Podium or whatever process, Shortcuts, on my Mac, on my iPad, on my phone, and on my watch. So it's on, and it writes to the same document in Drafts, and then Drafts syncs in the background. And if you want the version of Drafts that syncs in the background, which is called Drafts Pro, it's only $20 a year. $20 a year to capture every idea that you have once you use the free shortcuts and actions that I've included on that link. So anyway, that's the only tool I'm showing today, but it's the one I use the most. I use it literally every day, all day.
So will Podium sync across devices?
Podium does exactly the same thing that Catch It does. It just writes to Drafts, and Drafts does the synchronization. So here's Catch It, right? And you can see that it's asked for text, and then it turns into text and so on. If I open Podium, where do I edit? You can see it's exactly the same thing, except it's dictate text instead of accept text. That's it.
Mhm.
Every other line is exactly the same. That's all. That's the only difference, is the very first line and the action for that.
Would you ever import all these things into a database as opposed to twice a week going in there and seeing what you captured?
Well, the thing about anything other, the nice part about Drafts, which is just plain text, right, is that there's nothing new with plain text. Plain text has been mastered by operating systems since the 60s. It's as mature as anything in all of computing. And so we come back to the trust issue. Anytime I use an application that's a little more complicated, I have to run a bunch of tests and stuff. And I actually I don't include it here in the demo version, but in the main versions that I use, they're actually writing to a second application called Craft, which is what I use to sort of write a lot of stuff. It makes really nice looking documents and stuff. So I just have that as a backup, but it writes to Drafts first because that's the primary, that's the one I absolutely trust. Mm-hmm. So it could write to all kinds of stuff, But the more steps it has to do and the more complex the action, the greater the chance that it will fail. And there's no worse feeling than like having an insight, getting it into the system. You did everything right. You tapped on it, you talked or typed, whatever. And then you go to look for it and it's gone because it didn't work.
I guess I was thinking more in terms of just I have everything in Apple Notes right now, and so
Yeah.
I searching through like I think 1,800 different Apple Notes, which many of which I keep adding to, has
Right.
become a gargantuan task, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way just to import all those notes and then be able to run a search for give me everything about online business coaching. Give me everything about
Right. If you
such
like
and such, whatever
tagged
the
it and
topic
stuff.
is.
Yeah. So you can
Because
actually
because
do
otherwise,
a poor man's version of that in
yeah,
drafts. And the reason that I everything writes to one gigantic log file in drafts is
mhm,
because I do not want thousands of little notes that I would have to read. But the
mm,
search in drafts is excellent. I can go in and I can do a search. It will find every instance of something, whether I have a little tag there or whether I have a keyword or what I typed. And it
mhm,
will every time I click it, the search results will show me just in the same document because it's a really long document as I just showed you. It'll
sure.
like all of the search results are the individual lines that it appears on, and I can just click through them very quickly and see what I did, all the instances of that word, of that tag, of that whatever.
Well,
So it
because I
works
can
really
think
well.
of
I
it.
mean, it's not an AI based, fuzzy logic kind of search, but it's more than enough for anything I've ever needed.
Yeah, I was just thinking because I have numerous places for branding that I've done for other people as well as myself, where I have tagline, and tagline is the search term, but I have to go through tagline, and I've done the search through Apple Notes, but it would be nice to be able to pull everything together into
Yeah.
one place and create a document that is specifically about various versions of taglines for different people, because that creates interesting content actually.
Oh, I should note, I've tried this with Apple Notes, using
Mm,
Podium and Catch It with Apple Notes. And I mean, it mostly works, but it's not quite bulletproof. And you'd think it would be because Notes
yeah.
is built in. The problem is Apple does not expose the unique identifier for the document. So
Mm,
the steps to do this included having to do a search every
yeah.
single time. It would have to perform a search, find the folder, find the document, and then write to it. And if your phone was busy, if some app was chewing up a bunch of the CPU at that moment for whatever reason, then it would time out. And then, of course, it's not recorded. And like I said,
Mm,
if you don't trust it, you won't use it.
right.
So everything I've tried all kinds of stuff, all kinds of different applications. Drafts is bulletproof. And I keep trying new ones, but I've never found anything that's as bulletproof as Draft. I mean, I absolutely count on it.
Interesting.
So
Very good.
anyway, that's my tool. That's my capture tool. The two flavors of it that I use, text-based and voice-based, so that I never miss recording
But
and capturing
would
my
you
ideas.
recommend just sticking with one? Like if I just wanted to do everything voice based, is that a problem or no?
No, but the only reason I have two is because, well, voice when I'm driving, and also
Right.
voice because sometimes you're in environments where talking would be,
Got
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
appropriate or hard for
Right.
the built-in microphone in your phone to figure out.
Right. Right.
So, and I mean,
Okay.
they don't take up any space. I mean, they're very
Yeah.
small. They take no space on your computer or your phone, none. So there's no reason to not have lots of them. I mean, I checked this morning. How many shortcuts do I have now? It's over 250.
Mm.
But if you were going to graph them out on usage, these two,
It's about
Catch It and
80%,
Podium, are
90%.
99% of all
Yeah.
the apps that I use. As far
I
as
just thought if I would see your stuff in drafts with a time and date stamp, it would say something like, star date, 24, 20.
I could totally do that if I wanted to, and honestly, the only reason I have the date and timestamp in there is not because I particularly care about it, but so that I can see the sequence
Got it.
of like, okay, I had that thought, and then how weird is it or crazy is it that 45 minutes later, I had basically the follow up. So somewhere it was knocking around in my
Right.
subconscious,
Yeah.
and then 45 minutes later, it popped out into my attention again, and I had it.
Yeah. It was working subconsciously till it
Yeah,
spat out the output. So
yeah. So anyway, that's the tool that I'm
cool.
showing off today.
Cool.
That's my show and tell.
Show and tell. John has show and tell.
John, you're up
I guess
next.
me next, huh? All right.
John came back to us.
I don't know what happened there.
He
Something
got booted.
very strange. I got tossed. But here we go. Let's give it a whirl.
So what are we seeing first?
Well, I'm going to start by sharing my entire screen with you so that I can just run from one to the next. So
One tab to the next. The John Paduchek Show.
exactly. So we'll see how that works. How's that look?
It looks higher.
It looks higher. What do you mean?
It's higher conversions and
Oh,
faster
good.
funnels.
Yes.
Good,
Why don't
good.
you first explain what a funnel is?
So you can see it already. What is a funnel?
Yeah.
Well, a funnel is, gosh, what's my best way to explain a funnel here?
A
can do
filter,
it.
Yeah,
a gathering and sorting system.
Wait, is this a sales funnel or an actual like website kind of funnel?
It's a whole funnel creator, so you can
Like
create
a
a variety.
ClickFunnels kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like GrooveFunnels. A lot of people like Convertri because they say that it's a very intuitive way to create funnels without a lot of block, the block features.
Yeah.
And it's one that a lot of friends of mine really, really like. And I got it way back. I've used it some, but it's kind of unique. So for people looking for funnel builders that, maybe just haven't found the one that
Well,
is
tell you what,
easy to create
you
what they
type the
want.
name because I can't see it the way that we use Restream, and the way Restream works is my picture is actually covering over part of it, and I can't.
Gotcha. It's
But you do
Convert.
that, and I'll explain what a funnel is. In the simplest form, you can imagine this. You want to take someone through an order process or an upsell process. So they go and they sort of read the main page and say, yeah, I would like to buy that for $5 or $25,000, whatever. And they
Yeah.
put in their credit card information and their name and stuff. They've read what you put there. They're sold on it. So they click OK. And then another page comes up that where in the background, it's already processed the order. It tells them what they just ordered. Thank you for your order. Here's how to download your thing, or the email's on the way with the link or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so you don't have to, with funnel makers, DropFunnels, ClickFunnels, System.io, all these, you don't have to like write any of the code behind that. You can just import one of many different templates that they have for how you want it to look. And it handles the code in the background of passing the name of the product and the person's name and all that kind of stuff from one page to the next page, and also processing their payment through Stripe or PayPal or however you want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can have more than just those 2 pages, but the minimum you'd have for a funnel is 2 pages, right? The order page and the confirmation thank you page. You might also have an intermediate step where there's like, hey, for a limited time only, since you just agreed to buy this one, you can now buy this other thing that we sell for like whatever, 25% off or 50% off. And basically that's called an upsell, where you'd think it'd be a downsell because it's a lower price, but it's called an upsell in that the total size of the order would grow, as far as you're concerned, if they bought the other thing that you just pitched to them. And then a downsell, just for terminology's sake, would be kind of the opposite. It's where you're offering something that they've just turned down at a lower price because you'd rather get something than nothing. And then there's a final thank you confirmation page. Here's everything you bought, blah, blah. It's all on the way to you. So that's a funnel, a minimum of 2 pages that are where the second one is aware of what happened on the first one in a purchase or ordering kind of fashion, or a sign up fashion or whatever. And so you don't have to do any of the coding behind it. It's all sort of built in. All you have to do is figure out what each page should say. That's a funnel.
There you go. So the thing that's great about this one, though, I think, is that it has a lot of kind of unique features that are different than a lot of other funnel.
Right. John, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. I don't know what your interface looks like, but I'm going to put it in the chat that everyone else can see.
Yes.
Is it .com?
I can't. Yes, it is .com.
Okay.
Yeah, I can only put it in the private chat.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I guess I'm the only one that can put stuff in the chat.
You are the only one, my friend.
You're in control.
Okay, so let's talk about Convertri real fast.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a funnel builder, it might be a great way to go. It creates pages very differently than any of the other funnel builders I've ever worked with, and people seem to rave about it. We've used it a little bit, and I've liked what I've seen so far. And it's one of the older funnel builders. It's been around for quite some time. Goes back quite a ways.
Ooh, it lets me put it on the screen. That's nice.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Got a variety.
So basically, It's a not as well known, but critically and highly regarded version of
Yeah,
ClickFunnels or DropFunnels or one of the bigger systems.
exactly.
Okay. Oh, those do look nice.
Yeah, really super nice
Yeah,
templates.
nice
Right.
design.
Yep. Just kind of taking you on a quick
All right.
tour through. Sorry,
Oh, and
my
I would also know for anyone
screen.
who's sort of thinking, well, I already have a web hoster. Like, do I need this too? Generally, what you would do is you would host your website on the same platform. Like, if in the case you don't have to, but you could just put your website, especially if it's not a particularly complex website, over on Convertri. I mean, it's just there. You're paying for that hosting anyway,
Right.
and that way you can have everything in one place. So you don't have to have two systems. You can move everything to Convertri.
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of nice about it, somebody looking to create a new website but wants a little more flexibility to create other funnels,
Right.
this might be a great solution. They give you a pretty good number of funnels that you can create, 25, 250 pages, 10
Right.
custom domains. They also talk a lot about having super fast CDN
Right.
and the page load times being, superb. So I just thought it would be an interesting one to talk about. We talk about it quite frequently. We use it here and there
Right.
because it doesn't quite fit into our main business, but we like it.
What else you
So,
got?
all right, what else have I got? All right, so we were talking this morning, Dean, you and I, about memberships and creating a membership program and putting all of that together. And this was a program I picked up a while ago, and I really
It's
like what
called
I see things
Guru
about. It's
Can.
called GuruCan. Exactly.
Is that .com? Yes.
It is .com. Yes, GuruCan.com. It has lots of great features and pricing. Option to white label it if you'd like to do that. And
So
you
who
know,
buys this?
I think the person who buys this is somebody who really isn't satisfied with what they've played with so far. They've looked at gosh, I'm spacing on some of the
Or like
other.
what kind of person or business buys Guru Can?
Oh, probably somebody just really looking to get a course started, but wants a lot more features than what they're getting with some of the other membership builders. Like Thinkific,
Right.
and we're talking the other day about some of these course building, course setup programs being so stringent, and this seems to be one that's not nearly as stringent. It has a lot of great outside integrations with other programs. It has its own CRM built in, some great
Right.
marketing automation.
No funnels.
It does have funnels.
Does it?
Yeah, it's got landing pages. So I do believe you can build funnels within it.
Okay.
I think there's enough landing page flexibility that you can build funnels within it. And it also touts its own mobile app, which we kind of go back and forth on. Sometimes people would say, well, do I really want a mobile app? There's an awful lot of apps around. Do people really use them? But if they really get into yours and your content, it is really nice to have an app.
Actually, the very first online course that I ever did, this was a few years ago, and it was about like audience getting and keeping audience attention during virtual presentations and Zoom
Mhm.
calls, right? People would contact me and say, "Hey, like I can't see the next thing," and I would
Mm,
like fire up my laptop and I'd look at it and say, "That's fine. The flow is great."
yeah,
But it turns out half of them were, and this would have never occurred to me because I wouldn't do it. Half of them were trying to like do the course on their phone.
right.
And I think I was using Podia at the time, or maybe
Mhm.
Kajabi, but neither one of them, at least back then, had a mobile app.
Right.
So they were using the website on their phone.
Yeah,
And
so
so
it's a
there is
nice
actually
option.
something to be said. A surprisingly large percentage of people will try to do your course on a phone.
Yes.
And so having a dedicated app means that the formatting and whether they can see everything and spacing is already taken care of for you.
Yeah, more people are
So it's
working
actually kind of a
mobily.
good idea.
It really is. More people are working mobily than ever before. And, we were talking, I think, last time about some of the limitations of, Kajabi. And
Yeah,
I especially am not a fan of their email system.
me neither.
Um, yeah. And so, this is another option with, I think, a lot more flexibility. We're just in the process of testing it, but we see it as having a lot of potential. So that is one. Going on from that, email. there's always a lot of talk about all the email systems that are out there. This was, I think, another really good find because it takes you all the way through. If you want to create a small product on it, you could. It's
That's
predominantly in
vbout.com.
vbout.com. Yep.
Okay.
And vbout is very similar in a lot of ways to ActiveCampaign.
Right. Or MailChimp.
Yeah, I suppose not MailChimp so much. More ActiveCampaign is who they're pitted up against.
Right.
And the reason for that is the marketing automation that they provide. The one thing that I like about it is a very WYSIWYG kind of automation setup, which I think makes it easier to set up your automation. Sometimes it's an area that people get a little befuddled in.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that I see as a great benefit to this. I did say to you yesterday, one of the things that I'm looking at with it is not using it so much with lead generation, although it can be used for lead generation, but using it more with paid lead generation. Actually. Right. People paying for your lead magnet, etc. But you can
sell something on as part of like getting someone to sign up, and just so everyone's clear, in case you don't know the term, you've definitely done it, but you may not know what it's called on sort of the other end of the business transaction. A lead magnet is, well, anytime you've ever seen a post or an ad and it's like, download our free PDF or our free checklist for whatever, for getting new followers on Instagram now, or the right way to pitch healthcare clients, or whatever, any kind of checklist, any sort of report, any sort of white paper, any sort of, sort of printed article, free course, all that stuff is called lead magnets. And its job is to get you to take a step towards that company or that seller. And in exchange of you taking that step toward them, they give you some kind of content, usually digital content, for free. But then you're in their mailing list. And then they can continue to communicate with you. You're not just a stranger who they don't know. Now you're someone who's at least downloaded one thing or accessed one thing or attended a webinar or whatever. And there's a movement to among a lot of people to get away from, this is what John was explaining to me yesterday, to get away from free lead magnets and just charge a nominal amount. You might only charge $10 or $5 or $3 or $1.
Sure.
To get the checklist. And you're saying, well, like, if it's going to be $1, why not free? But there is a big psychological gap between someone who gets something for free and someone who's agreed to pull out their credit card and even spend $1.
Exactly.
And I can tell you from experience, anybody would rather have 100 people in their mailing list total that spent even $1 than 10,000 people in their mailing list who've never spent anything.
Yep. So that's one of the areas we're looking at using this. One of the things that really shocked and surprised me with this company is they came out with vBout University, and they said it's a basically a course that they were going to sell to others for $2,000, but they gave it to people who bought the product for free. I don't know whether they still do that or not, but I believe they do. And it's fantastic. It really kind of walks you through everything that you need to put together a successful mailing list, and walks you through every one of these phases of their automation, management, email marketing, building the landing page, how it works with social media, the analytics, pipeline manager, and other add-ons that you want to put together with it. So we're kind of high on this one. I think it's going to be something we use more and more. And then the last one I've got, if you're ready for me to move on.
Go for it. Spell it out for me.
The last one is Acoya, OCOYA .net.
.net, okay.
Yeah. And I'm always looking at different social media programs for posting social media that integrate well and play well with other programs. This one kind of popped up on me recently, has a lot of AI built into it. I think in a good way. I haven't totally gone through that yet, but I think.
What does it do?
It helps with posting your social media. So just kind of like working with Buffer, etc. It lets you go through and post images, GIFs, videos, music, and track all of that, which it's very hard to find a social media posting program, at least in what I've seen, that helps you with the automate, all the automations and all the integration with everything, so that you can track everything well. So I'm kind of high on this one too.
So, like, does more stuff, it looks like, than Hootsuite does.
It does. I mean, Hootsuite can be used with it to
How much
help
is this one?
content. All right, let's look at.
So does it actually post for you like Hootsuite does, or does it do everything short of posting for you?
No, it'll actually post for you.
Okay.
So it actually set up, line up, do all the posting.
Right.
So if you look
what's
at
the
the price,
monthly? If I don't want to buy it annually, what is it per month?
so here's the price plans.
Right, but that's annual.
It's yearly. Let's change to monthly. There we go. There we go.
And so €19 is like $21 or something. $22.
So not too bad. Gives you a great place to get started with, and if you do a lot of social posting for other clients, it gives you a great place to end up at.
Right.
So those are the couple things that I had that I wanted to show to you today.
All right, very nice. And then Dr. V, you had one?
Well, I've got two. I was trying to do the screen share from my phone, which is sad. It's not working. So I'm just going to go with my regular browser here. I think I started the share. I think I need permission to share. Okay, sharing is caring.
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, there it is. I want to say now it says
no
stop
restrictions
sharing.
on guests, sir.
I tried to share. I tried to share. It wouldn't let me share. Can you see now?
Maybe it's you.
Oh, 1 second. I have to turn it on, turns out.
Yeah, you have to turn it on. That's
InShot.
So
I'm wondering. Yeah, so InShot is one of the
InShot.com?
Yeah.
It is. They actually got a good URL on this one.
Yeah, they did.
But it was originally designed for Instagram. And I love doing the demo from my phone, but for some reason, Restream, this seems to be easier with Zoom, I will say, sharing your phone. So InShot is interesting because everything is, they have both the Google, essentially the Android and the iOS versions, but the editing is very easy with your thumbs and your pinching and things like that. You can remove a lot of stuff, and you can actually split the clips when you're doing short form video, which is very unusual. There's a lot of apps that don't let you take out some stuff in the middle. They'll let you trim the sides,
right,
but very few of them will let you actually do the splits, and that's what makes it really great. The speed thing I just don't use, but what I have done is I've only used the free version, which is kind of strange because it's not terribly expensive. I think it's a lifetime of only $15. So,
wow.
but I've been too cheap. I've been trying to find the workarounds for this, which is I actually will take something from like from TikTok, for example. I'll download it, import it into InShot, and then I make a little bit of an edit here or there. Basically, I'm removing sound from one TikTok. I'm splitting the audio and lifting it over onto a single thing to try and take out the TikTok watermarks.
Yeah.
Because there's a teeny tiny watermark that will appear in the lower right-hand corner. But then I could edit if I paid the $15, I could avoid this. But I've already paid for an annual something called Vixer, which we'll get to shortly. And I import it into there and do the cropping, which actually takes out the teeny tiny thing in the lower right-hand corner. Anyway, these are just little workarounds. But you can do a lot of filtering. There's a lot of different effects that you can do. And they do have music. I've never used InShot's music, which I think is restricted if you're a paid user. But the free accounts can work really well. And you can add the stickers, you can add the texts and all kinds of things. I'm addicted to stickers because I think they really are great attention grabbers. Now, the second one, which I refer to as Vixer. Vixer is interesting because it was recommended by a friend of mine. But it's $39.
Vixer.com.
Yeah, I'll get to it right here. Vixer. They don't have a really good URL on the website, but I did find their Facebook page, which is Vixer. This is the place where they had the greatest number of images, but it's only available on iOS. So you can get
Okay.
through there. But they display a lot of their videos from people who've used Vixer and how, the things that they've created. And there's some amazing things that go on through here, everything from
Mhm.
time lapse to other types of things. In particular, I actually like, let's see, no, that's your idea capture thing. In particular, I like surprisingly, they have a whole bunch of royalty-free music inside of Vixer, and
Right.
they keep adding to that collection on a regular basis. And I found some really good stuff in there that YouTube has never dinged me for. So
Nice.
that's whereas sometimes nowadays, if you're using something from TikTok or something from Instagram or even YouTube's own approved
Yeah.
audio, you're getting dinged for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Which is just that's got to be a glitch or people, I mean, maybe never use audio again. That seems to be sad, but I do find that every once in a while, even with royalty free music, you might get dinged, and then you have to make an appeal like to Facebook or to Google or YouTube, and that takes forever, and it's totally
But
not
no
worth it
problems
sometimes.
with Vixer and their
No
music.
problems with the Vixer
That's
audio.
good.
Yeah, the Vixer audio has been really good. I mean, if you're looking for popular music, this is not the most popular music, but
Sure.
there's some very interesting audio in there that will attract people's attention because I mean, I've even used hip hop, and I'm not a hip hop kind of guy, but there's some really cool stuff in there that is their classifications maybe a little bit off, but no, I was in the hip hop section, and I'm not,
Hmm.
I'm putting hip hop to a beach walk video, and it works great because it does attract people's attention.
And does it have a way? Does it use it looks like where it says video editor and maker. So it uses the camera app inside the
Yeah,
phone
you
to
can
make
do that.
the video and then edit it in place
Yeah,
on the
I've
phone.
never done that though, but
No.
my use of Vixer is limited to basically taking out watermarks and adding audio. But then I will take raw footage from my camera and upload it into Vixer and create something that I will
Mhm.
subsequently upload to TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. Oh, and one little aside about YouTube Shorts is a little hack. It's not a tool, but it's a hack, which is there are certain videos on YouTube right now where you can actually sample 1 to 5 seconds of another, either a short or a full length YouTube video. And I've done it with like Wayne Dyer, and I did it with, I think one of the Abraham Hicks ones or so. And it's amazing because you get the link back to that video or
Right.
YouTube short, and it's considered very popular, particularly if you see the number of likes on a video. So it's one way to create some sort of, I don't know, sort of like a ghetto tactic for creating content by latching on to the authority and the popularity of some
Right.
other video. But that's just the audio section of the
Mm.
YouTube video. Anyway,
All right.
so
Awesome.
yeah, I wish I was able to share. We have to play with this so I can share the screen from my phone within Restream.
Right.
StreamYard was okay. I just haven't figured out why the restreaming is not dreamy at this point.
Well,
So
guys,
I will stop
again,
my.
all kinds of new stuff that I had never heard of. I've never heard
Yeah.
of any of those things. There's so
Yeah.
much to look at in the world, right? It's awesome.
There certainly is.
Stop my
Oh,
share.
someone's doing Inception again. That's right.
I said to stop my share
Yeah.
because I care.
So that was so much fun. I always enjoy Thursdays. Thursdays are so great. I mean, to me, Wednesdays can be a bit tense because I'm sort of on the hook with something I've never seen, and I'm supposed to, try to
Yeah, but we got
discern
your
how to
back.
improve it.
We got your back.
Yeah.
right.
What was their name again?
Which one? The hands-on healing,
Hands on Health, I think it was called.
hands-on health.
Yeah.
With
Just
can't
goes to
remember.
show, maybe there is something to be said for repeating the name of your own
Over
company
and
on your own
over
website
and
75,000
again.
times on the same website. But that's fine. Those are fun days. But I really, really like Tools Thursdays because I always learn something that I no idea even existed.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna fork over the $15 this week and just get that.
Finally get Fixer
I think it's about
or
time.
InShot. Yeah.
It's only going to get better from here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's it. Happy Thursday. We're
Happy
not back
Thursday.
until Monday.
Happy Friday
I've
Eve.
broken the taboo of mentioning what days. And stuff.
That's okay.
It's Thursday.
That's
It's
all right.
Tools Thursday, so obviously it's on a Thursday. And
Doesn't matter.
we'll see everyone again next week.